Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nadia Amani Afzan binti Mazlan. My metric number 1213165. Today I want to talk about verbal communication theory. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle wrote that man is by nature a social animal. The quote shows that communication lies at the heart of all social relationships. Actually, from the time you enter this world, you start communicating. Your first cry is your first attempt at verbal communication. And as you start growing, you find newer ways of communication. You learn to form words and sentences to communicate. What is verbal communication? In this type of communication, words are employed to transmit ideas or information. This can be done in the form of verbal interactions or through written or text message, such as letters, emails, telegrams, SMS, and other contemporary modes of transmissions. Verbal communication is the method of sending and receiving information using words as the mode of transmissions. This can be done by either engaging in verbal conversations or by sending written message. For example, Ahmad wanted to convey to his boss that he would be taking a day off from work as he has his doctor's appointment. He chose to send the message via email as they would be considered more professional rather than making a call regarding the same. Next, the characteristic of verbal communication. Verbal communication is an oral in nature. Oral communication encompasses various activities such as talking, laughing, or listening. We often navigate different emotional situations through oral forms of communications. We also have written communication that includes script, alphabet, acronyms, logos, and graphics. To interpret written message, everyone involved must understand the code, which is the language. This is different from verbal or spoken communication. There are several characteristics that are specific to verbal communication. Number one, the message being communicated is directly or indirectly related to an object. Number two, we use concept to communicate message. Number three, the content should be understood by both, which is the sender and receiver. Number four, cultural factors influence the content of message. Number five, while communicating emotions and feelings, a sender's state of mind influences the content of message. Even though we talk to our friends, family, and co-workers on a regular basis, we may not always be aware of how we are communicating. Mastering the art of verbal communication will help you in more ways than one. Let's explore different types of verbal communication. Here is the types of verbal communication. Number one is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is nothing but the internal dialogue people usually engage in. This type of communication takes place when a person talks to themselves. Here, communication takes place within the brain. People usually interact with themselves on many occasions, such as when processing vague information, reaching clarity about something, tackling overwhelming emotions, daydreaming, and others. For example, Katie always has the habit of discussing with herself before taking any important decisions. She feels that talking to herself helps her tackle any confusion efficiently. Number two is interpersonal communication. This type of communication is also called dyadic communication, and it takes place between two or more individuals. This method involves various aspects of communication, such as listening, speaking, and responding through words, and various acknowledging non-lexical fillers, such as oh, ha, and some head and hand gesture, and others. Number 3 is small group communication. This is a type of interaction that takes place in a small group between 3 or more people. This kind of group will involve interactions about a specific topic or commonly recognized goals. Some examples of small group communication are board meeting, team discussion, and others. All the members of the group unanimously discuss and conclude. Number 4 is public communication. In this communication, one speaker conveys information to a large group of people. This takes place in a setting where a large group of people assemble to receive the information from the speaker. Some examples of this type of communication involve elections campaigns, public speech, and others, where information is passed on from one common source to hundreds of individuals. Number 5, mass communication. Mass communication takes place when a small group of people pass down information to a large number of varied population using an exclusive medium of communication. This type of communication adopts a special kind of medium that will facilitate the information to reach a wide majority of people. Some examples of mass communication are newspapers, radio, televisions, poster, and others. Recently, social media has taken the world by storm and has been very efficient in communicating ideas and information all across the globe within seconds. Here are some skills to you when you want to use the verbal communication. Number 1, you need to listen before speaking. One major mistake that we all make is we listen to respond. The goal should instead be to listen to understand. For effective communication to take place, it is integral to comprehend what the sender has to say so that the intended information is received successfully. Active listening involves not just superficially taking in what has been said, but also viewing the information from their shoes and considering the contextual nuances. Number 2, you need to read and write. Number 3, you need to talk with an objective. As we know, effective communication takes place when there is a goal behind it. The main objective of a conversation is to convey and receive information. Talking without an objective may make the conversation pointless and ineffective. Number 4, you need to eye contact when you are talking with someone. Number 5, you need to be a confident person. Number 6, you need to be open-minded when you're talking with someone. Verbal communication also have the advantages and disadvantages. The advantage are, number 1, it is the most convenient mode of communicating information. Number 2, it also helps in conveying message with clarity and precision. Number 3, it is the most confidential medium of interactions. Number 4, verbal communication helps in easier comprehensions. Number 5, verbal communication instant feedback can be received. The disadvantages are, number 1, verbal communication holds no proof of the conversation held unless it is recorded. Number 2, emotions during the conversation can twist the intended meaning of the message. Number 3, verbal communication can get lengthy and hence distort the purpose of the conversations. Number 4, the message sent across can be misinterpreted. Number 5, in verbal communication, there is no going back. Everything is said and done, and the person has to live with the consequences of the word spilled. in my conclusion, effective verbal communication opens up a two-way street that allows individuals to interact, engage, and collaborate with each other, improving organizational efficiency and productivity. On an individual level, it helps you become more confident and a well-rounded professional. That's all from me. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.